mpunimpu edi nkan no emremwe na ye di mpunimpu edi nkan ebremwa ye ne national organizer ema NPP amanyuku no lawyer Henry Nana Boache Sanmra ne senana bi ye na ye ne bo mpunimpu edi nkan no ni nyina ne sen na no 17 June na wotwe mudwada no na NPP edi betu dwa sabre no general secretary kasa no na chese national organizer so tin nsani fa so pe se wonum de nhyehyeye fofora ba eno ne sen se womo ebeyi dia him franka ama amanyoko no huebe bosume afefofra yebesimu no bosume edi nkan da etwato na chese opepon bosume de toso aduasa ba ko mfinhye mpinu achedu no ensia ene nhyehyeye ahodo bi eka ho na eno no ena amanfo se na we de omu hyeda hu bi sa enya amanfo nko omu party fo ni mu krampo no womu wonsem kan ewom omu anso kan se we ni de edi nkan omu ye ne sa de nti omu ye ne so omu se edi nkan bomu ebeba ebi nso se enfan kabo mu bia mba edi confusion ama confuse aye basa enti ene onum no nkyere ontintin ani mu mayen fi so omu kra san kan se wo mu behwe se omu to abayi frankatuni ni no electoral college no omu betrem na sabre yi a omu ba beyi wo mu a obeyi flag bearer yi every ben na wo mu beyi police station executives no ward executives no constituency ne region no no mu dia beyi national executive no ansa na omunso aba beyi flag bearer ana flag bearer ne beba ansa na je se wo maye ni twabutuo ana na sa na omu che electoral college ni mu a ebrebe na sa afo no so benya kwan ato aba ne bi ansa na won fiafia ho a party mani bi sokre kasa se dia mu ye entimi emfa kabom na ye hwehwe ne mma ebi sokra se o wo mu executives na kasa no pese wo mu san tena ho enti no mo yes an hye ebi si o on pese favor candidate ba ko ensem ne do so enti ye ne nana bi emo enkomo kakra nana emo achi
ozo
ahofe ni akakra ya wo be ni wati atu
na je wo ja de we television queen
pacho ifi boko
na mi adaroma ya
pacho matres abusuanfu ni nyina ho ye ye de nyame ase ada na asem ni fie na mokofa asem abai
oh debi enya sa asem ni fie kofa asem aba meda wase ya ni tie ni yakoto aba no nkugo kese ni die
no correct
obi agitum yewie na mu na party into the second highest decision making body
okay
your friend the national council
okay
ya amusha na omo yese debi yente badwoku na omo nkohwehwe enema ne mumra enti enya professor Michael Kwe committee
okay
ema omo kohwehwe emu ba na omo de omo anu asem ebetudwa omo de ba na enema ne bu ha omo benya se ye besa kira ye constitution enti eno so yesate eku a ombehwe na the only body just omo tumi se ebetimi asakira eye constitution eye conference nso eye all constituency executives all regional executives national council members and about nipa be 5 to 6,000
okay
enti omanu asema omo de betu dwa e council no ebi wo ho na council wo hutumi se emprempre na na ebetimi aye ho bibi ebi wo nso a osi eja na nyame adoma 19th of July Kushiawo University of Ghana Sports Stadium na eno nso no etimi esi ho agina okay na ade ba ko asane awokan eye ma bebre omu receive proposals by 300 na wahwa ne edimu ahinipa no eye presidential primaries
okay
ya sa wo hwe mo committee report ni bo ha committee report ni chese eye from Professor Michael Kwe committee and overwhelmingly of what no mudi nkomo ni nyina kire se pinten wo party mo no metimi aka se ni nyinara over 90% because of presidential primaries.
I see.
Bia opaka ni abo wanim kwa betimi aka obo se ni nyina linked to presidential primaries. The last electionary cycle no 4 years no. MPP party spent 3 years on internal elections, from polling station, electoral area, constituency, region, national. So meaning the party no spent 3 years creating problems, creating division. Yet in fear miensa Sanse abato abekwa akoto bia no e de mentime ho ase wantwi na eba.
Okay.
Na enkugu a yedi ye no so no hwehwemu bebre na kwakoda edi se party na mu na no na enchichemu ahodo bebre e from polling station, electoral area, constituency region. And na amendment committee no report de buy from enipa bebre na say enei say ye de calendar ba say ye kwakoto polling station elections and na there were over 42,000 polling stations.
Okay.
Potential presidential aspirant no. They are going to spend money to go and create their own teams there. We never mwame. It's a bit kind of creative problems, ni confusion, ni na wasi ho. Yebe no near their back constituency. Yebe no near their back region. Yebe no near their back national.
Okay.
The committee thought said no, baby, I don't need baby. I also you make some radical changes into the area. Okay, things is here, you know. Yahwasipa. E ma shebe dwam kra na ekuta 88. Edi ye kase ye talk so aye niam dada na de bia e de division e de problems e breya. E be ha. But nyamencha de omo a omo chro your constitution so no. The drafters, the framers of the constitution. Ase na omo nim se ebre bi betimi ato party na. Ye betimi akọ ahohiahia mu because of some of these things. It is a what here article 13 na. A stand alone presidential primaries. I say the party in opposition I was say holding presidential primaries. Okokoto aba eyi presidential obi a obedi monim no.
Okay.
Also what to aba yi no. Eni say it drew 2 years before the elections.
Okay.
Nti ochana kra betumi akwakoye. Ene ye wo ha kra betumi akwakoye.
Nti the argument that se mo ye ni same part 31st ne ba so aye too early no enyina.
Dabi, enye too early. In fact, the recommendation is saying either December or first quarter next year.
Okay.
Now, nani padobo na kra pe December. But a BM party no muso no kire say o person your presidential primaries are also almost 6 months notice.
Okay.
And tisa bosomi nsia na odi bebo de huru say oba be ye presidential primaries are. So we December na enya de e betimi emiti sa constitutional provision no.
Oh, I see.
And I'm penny 4 year calculation who say no any I say January and you beat me and now will be within the 6 months.
6 months and you too short say candidates no be campaign across Ghana.
Sanya, you know. The last time I hear elections, you don't forget say I think say you started nomination somewhere in April. November.
Because Sabre no na mo wa ban mu. And mo constitution no so se mo wa ban mu a o kire ebre a ese se mo ye muyi flag bearer ebia no so no mo dwen se onipa na ote so no obenya chance akọ ne second term enti mama onye gidigidi na ama nipa na enya kwan mu oman no enti last year de no ni wei ensi mpai.
In fact baby a party regional grant na o see ye presidential candidate in term na ekire jo.
Okay. Now,
but say ebi no mo e kan say oh so wo koyi no entema. In fact nyame no nkweni ndi ye nyina no I first of all want to establish say a constitutional.
Okay.
Article 13 no gives that mandate to National Council say elect your presidential candidate not later than 24 months
okay
to the elections.
Okay.
It's any time before 2 years
okay
to the elections no obetimi
okay.
Aye. It's over 1 million no the padodo na no so every say baby aye dru no we cannot spend 2 years again na enei me support we enei we na me wo na etwitwa na ntiri biem na ye toma na ye ho na ye nkomo ni nyina akwa e ma party no nkra no anya kono
gina ho kakra nti no sesi aye amoba be kwa battle so first of all senka mu de micro report no e ma wo mu esese wo mu nya unyi ni se e bia nko mo bete wase ama saa decision ya mo dia betu dwai wo yo wa ye wo ho no abafom because o sha se no wa kire me so micro report ni mu nsem ni bi na mo de ye adwume but because mo nkrofo ni nim ni ti assign the apro for fraba.
I mean you said despite group of companies mo koye mo strategic document na mo amo a year analysis of myself mo ye SWOT analysis, mo strength, mo weakness, no bibia mo ba beto dwa. Why? Because mo competition with other media houses.
Yeah, but management for now.
So the people who are managing it, we will not make it public, but those who are supposed to know, who are supposed to work with it, they are aware.
Who are the those? Because
for instance,
one candidate, and it is favoring that one candidate. Like
already know, Professor Michael Kwe Ankasa Babemaye brief about these issues. Secondly, General Secretary, so yeah, quite pro, thank you to Asia Party for no. And the do Honma was a party for no one or catch Romo.
Okay.
Thirdly, Constitutional Amendment Committee now, Omo Ebe Jina, Professor Michael Kwe Committee, no recommendation, ebe be here Constitutional Amendment, no.
Okay.
They are also aware.
Okay.
It's no a big currency that say ye be ye report na ye be ababon baby never. It's no the Omo Kano, Mr. Omo, enya dia party bit me de. Professor Michael Kwe Committee no report no betu no ntini ye to aba the party penifo the party penifo emu bi na constitutional amendment we. In fact, over here one of the most prominent recommendations free Professor Michael Kwe Committee was 1 man 1 vote. Okay. In this report, the 1 man 1 vote no ewum report ibi ne kita. Yes, ibi ne kuta me here or say that is a 1 man 1 vote no. My main kai a honey brief so say the delegate system. There were a lot of proposals asking the party to allow every card-bearing member of the party to vote in all internal elections on the basis of 1 member, 1 vote. The amendment committee holds the view that this proposal is not feasible as of now. However, the party should immediately initiate processes of putting in place necessary administrative measures and foundational framework, including effective rollout of biometric membership database system that will pave way for the full implementation of 1 man, 1 vote or 1 member, 1 vote by end of 2028. Okay. The roadmap for the realization of 1 member, 1 vote should begin with the National Council setup of 1 man, 1 vote implementation committee to work out the modalities for the rollout of 1 member, 1 vote, including budgetary considerations. This committee, in the meantime, recommends a limited expansion of the delegate system. For that matter, the electoral college for all internal elections at the various levels.
So the okay can sa 1 man 1 vote no e chesa de na kan ne mo koto aba obi ti to ba akwa na
da bi o ye to aba ne we dey all card bearing members.
Okay.
Who said there were a lot of proposals ka say ye ma party member bi an to aba ne bi.
Okay.
The committee ni say e no kre omu som batemu mu no enei no enima bebre wo hono ma o say ye ansa na eduru ho.
Okay.
The party no ent implementation committee na by 2028 no yenhwe se obia no ebetimi at that time na ukuta your biometric data base of all your members etimi registered ni enei so what the bar yentimi nye because there are certain things also utimi nye so indeed
into how then does it come into this decision?
No, I am only trying to tell you say in fact a committee no kra no nkomo so say o nkebetimi abasa because these are some of the things Michael Kwe e you were asking a question about other Niemfa report and I may say because amendment committee had the privilege of the report, that is why omude sa 1 man 1 vote no or 1 member 1 vote no.
Okay. So decision we neck for no majority in the 4 so
no cancel overwhelming majority.
Some overwhelming bro for no na na ebi ma ba bontia be yi anu say omo de na omo wom omo anfo aso na enye omo nkwa na ase omo dooso
dabi ye to aba on.
Okay.
Na overwhelmingly
na mo yes na mo to aba no
say na in terms of counting by voice enti mina the conduct here.
Okay.
Na me conduct no omo ye in favor of the motion na omo ayedede
as a parliament for say
exactly. Yes. Omo ka so mo pen no kwasem ne their voices were not even heard at all.
Na decision kese say are from 92 mu nye bi da mo sesa ade a adenti na ene mo
let me explain the decision.
Secret ballot.
Let me explain the decision very well. I think a lot of people confuse the decision is that National Council will to me see a set date.
Okay.
That doesn't require any secret ballot. In fact, now you 2 motions that now baako si yenye in December baako si yenko in January.
Okay.
You calculate who yenye who said there be December they no enye feasible.
Okay.
Enti as for holding the presidential primaries first and then early, no, it is within the mandate of council.
Okay.
But Matisse Musokas, oh, any quarto presidential we are near Babato national, near Babato region, near Babato constituency, and there be council and take his decision.
The
decision is that, first of all, Article 13, you will to me say you best set it presidential primaries date. And only set it 31st of January.
No setting a fine and I think I'm 19 July conference. In 19 July. But me from other quarters say, oh, this a moko conference.
No.
Conference for no approve.
The conference about the amendment. There be tentative. Article 13 is clear. National Council should set the date and venue for presidential primaries not later than 24 months to the elections. It in fact, Sausha Ebium, the committee's reporter on presidential primaries, Mame, just a small portion of it.
Okay.
Or say, fortunately, National Council is clothed with the constitutional authority under Article 13(1) to decide the date for the conduct of presidential primaries. This does not require constitutional amendment. We propose that this decision be taken today. That was day now presenting report.
Okay.
Be taken today, and in line with the overwhelming call for party members to fix the date by council should not go beyond next year March.
Okay. Until we say 31st January we be answer.
There be answer. There be no difference.
Okay. Na any man focus on mo bisa say mo top bottom yi. Anya no mo yi bi afri mu o. Na mo constitution no che eno so mehu ye say article 11 o say bibi. E kire omo ese so mo to aba yi flag bearer. E na mo anso maka say committee report no say mo betrem mo the research officers e be ka ho e wo
na ye for 19
enti mo de omo komu a sa every bay and no move vote in be counted am omo so etimi ato about 31st January.
Okay, first things first.
Okay.
You take a decision every.
Okay.
Committee say we should have an expanded delegate system. You kwako take amendment because senior okan ye no correct constitution e kire omo a ye beto aba e de yi police station for electoral area for any constituency e kire nyina e kire ne be omo beto yi presidential. So ye kone ye koye amendment no 19th ni ye hu say conference ajia tuma then the party again will come back because that time your new constitution. Okay. Then the party through steering committee, national executive committee and national council again will come back to set out the modalities.
Modebe kwa koi flag bearer.
Exactly.
So
flag bearer na dey yahye. Date no yahye.
No problem.
Eti yakowie na all the provisions are in here amendment. In fact, the reason why I conference no is because your constitution no, it is only conference that can amend it.
Okay.
It is only conference.
Okay.
It's proposals and so a buy na amendment committee the buy no. It do ho no me here amendment. The here amendment there and you also conference. Okay. So also conference near kwajitu mu wia na afi ye hu se ya je eye amendment na the proposals for amendment in our two. Then the party through steering committee, national executive committee, national council will again sit down to set out all the modalities in line with the constitution.
Okay, some modalities mu yenshoma ko ni July, August, September, October, November, December. Mu betumi akoyi mo other executives no from the polling station or grassroots na ba bedru national and sana makoyi flag bearer.
Okay, so that discussion na make us me sitting here as an individual means me commenting on it. The reason why I will not is because first of all, me a national organizer. Secondly, minister to me no conference it decided on all of these we are. That is why I said the party through national steering committee, national executive committee and national council will set out all the modalities. Okay. Could be part of the modalities on board.
But who sitting here, who bet me a chair say, Mubeyi mo other executives and son of my flag bearer and say, ye be one option and son ya be executives.
There can be an option. Party bet me decide say, ye bet me you mean and san ye. Party who bet me decide say already ye were delegates who mukuta mandate dada.
Okay.
Because 4 years.
Okay.
There have been times where obi mandate krampo no edru no.
Okay.
For transitional purposes. Party to me, ekase ya extend omo you by a month or two. Party so betimi akase yenko to abano within this period.
Okay.
And sana yakwa koto January 31st no. So the party's leadership ebetimi aka bibia.
Okay.
The most important thing no the amendment.
Okay.
Yenko amendment into we.
Okay.
Yenko amendment into we then the party's leadership through all of these structures, American Steering Committee, NEC, and National Council would then come and set out the modalities in line with the amended constitution.
Nti metiwasia council ye subset under the major set, which is party leadership. Adana council dear Mikadi Sade tia betuja. Nanka nye mantwe anye se ye kwa ye conference ya kwaba modalities are party dia betuja ni. Nanka conference so council so to me jina so akase based on these modalities ye huni se ye to flag bearer abano this data ebeboy.
Ensewe.
Ujidi say bibia
because
so
ye kwe ye nim say recommendation on can say at the polling station ye increasing it by 40%.
Okay.
Ye for 2 in Kahon.
Okay.
At the electoral area.
Okay.
Is here back say almost 5.
Okay.
Meaning you're increasing it by some 500. This here all former constituency executives, you more voting right. All former MMDCs, all former ministers and deputy ministers, patrons, your page numbers nim first nanka patrons go and trouble national. This here is on beto, and council of elders near reps. This here is on na beto.
Okay.
Meniaje Tescon no regional Tescon coordinators, on beto aba.
Okay.
Oba youth first nanka. Omo youth organizers pe and a quarter about youth and they say obia or youth meaning that we chairman now 40 or below obeto abanibi for the youth. So these are and many are the proposals
okay.
Circumference as for the presidential 6 months window, it doesn't change anything. We only have to bring the modalities and over pick form and obey say whilst whatever modalities the party does between their banner, it can be done. And
that's why we pick form and now within 5 months, Moma fix a flag bearer by 31st no. Next says mutu abe you or more 5 months enough to say obi edebe ye campaign and nothing so 5 months more party no enye so mo ye police station there o say
sana epeno
mo pemika mo dia mika mo koy
asana ye pemika we need 2028
but and say mo ye strategic and
this is a very strategic decision here baby you do no calls for drastic measures and I'm telling you say and I have so much confidence in this that me baby amete say my national youth organizer pay na my national organizer pay 2024 elections ebu ona wo na akwa campaign na wudru constituency mu agi se wusiesie entokwa bi e wo ho ansa antokwa no e free presidential primaries emunti no agi se wo sa sa ebre ekosiesie sa asem wo constituency ho ansa na watimi apie ene temamufo na akwa campaign amanfo no akwa campaign why I didn't know say bre so from 2021 e share
leadership no amobeyi no ono na obekọ akosolve problem se wo hwa na afi se wo hwe ne ekoso mo party ni mu a ena ahia nkrofo wo menasepo nkrofo wo yi a nkrofo bu afu enti wantwi no ewo ho
se na make say eno no wo ho so why drag it adena so tro ben ho no obeje ne ntem na ne ozo bia ho ye na o so wo twen ana 2 years na was a party ni nya na ene ya make say there are a lot of issues here nka NDC pa ne say he be prolong your internal matters na de bia no so mo ya the money wa ben mu kra na nkintimi nka there are so many issues ene ya osan ke ka ho asem e wa ben mu
okay
ena me kote say president ma aboshe ba ko share ne say o de school feeding no o de be ma headmasters na nkomo atotom ne wo kaya ene o so zi ade ntimi nye o say the back to buffer stock ene commodity exchange and the minister Abeka, nobody is talking about it.
Okay.
Such an inconsistent position. And to know say because of our internal party, ne punim pupa ne UTV, we are saying very popular station, and they may not buy a party musem yeka, and rightly so because some about us can want
okay.
So the in fact, as for no crampo die, the padudu no party nimpe. Now all that they want is the modalities.
Okay.
The padodo na person ye ade ne ntem na free.
We are sure say ni padodo na.
I am telling you.
Because
do you know where issues ni free? Ne ma me no. Ni pa bi fi say ye to presidential ni wi a. Na ya ba beto national elections. Na ya ba beto regional elections. Ni akwa to constituency. Ansa ni akwa electoral area. Ansa ni ato enye sanete.
Okay.
So make say no party council we never discuss that.
Only ni say mo party for ni be feel say any mpomo mo contest flag bearer yi. Omo feel say ade no mo ya ma na favor candidate baako. Obi anim no. If we say mo call thank you to no. As ono na no odi anim. E na nkofo ye adentu no odi anim, denti na chairman ni anim. Mo be yi ya no de. Nanso say see thank you to ni si ya pe. Yes, say ye be kwa koto flag bearer aba no kane. Enti ene na che say wono no ye ma ni lead. Ye ka ansani ye be ka pen no wono ye anomes dada. Enti sa bre die ono okwa ase wafa ho aye ni campaign dada. Ase bi mu nsem o mo ka Krachi say David Pra say any attempt to impose a candidate on them they will resist it. David Pra Dr. Nutrim campaign team member.
Now, in the Pekwakoto Abans, yes, a BM say a conference, now conference at Jituma. We are talking about close to 400,000 delegates. Chekoni could be more proposals at Yabano.
Okay.
The simple calculations are a woman. Say, your Kokotua, a nipa close to 400,000 though, and a Kokotua by presidential candidate.
Okay.
Who, why a bit my control of you?
Okay.
Eti ena biem kwa baby ananko fufi se bianka o yetimi controlling kofo no kra constitution amendment committee enyim free o hwa before anke beto presidential primaries no ye obibi an e frɛ no extraordinary delegate conference eno kosone se nipa na buru mu a
yes they mo be yin no
man eni amendment committee enyim free o
okay
which I support.
Okay.
But
they will kind in say a corner yes, I economic set modalities. Some corner modalities, and so call say, yet said the uncrophaging your more can out you and say, oh, said the I any day, yen to a benny flag bearer cane, na ye ria, because Mr. Matty from certain quarters say, flag bearer no, and no name be ye juma. And see ye flag bearer ria, say yanim say me to me better.
Answer question.
Yes,
you see, you have already
me your campaign in manual. Ko dina crown ko pre executive
ya ma notice one hwe ya e betre ko wa kan sem bebre so ne edi kan no nobody obi an ho no ma ye bibi dey favor obi and we are not doing anything outside the constitution of the party.
Okay.
And nobody can tell me say me sa ade nyama party a na national organizers mean so nobody can tell me that.
Okay.
Eti sa notion a be propaganda media to na ye to favor. We are not doing this to favor anybody. We are rather doing this. No, yeah, would be. So what question,
and what's not doing it to favor anybody? No, you're not doing it to favor anybody. But should you know a see parliamentarians bear 60? Ako yako through your support.
Yeah, say MP 60. You could throw me. For me, me who say me and Kebianka may advise you against it.
Okay.
But the reason why this is happening is because we have set the date for presidential primaries.
Okay.
So I will not begrudge anybody.
But does it arguable for the party?
No, Debbie, Anna make say so because I made a way and I'm a penna. Senka yenyem because it's here in your Canada, more or less like your nomination. Because you are setting date for the presidential primaries. Right? And now Omako. For me, and Kamianka will advise against it. But the reason why this is happening is because you are setting the ball in motion. So and that is the other side of it.
So you have caused this.
Yeah, Anna Meka said it is better for us to do all of these things early. Yeah.
Mo can say mo pese di unity ba. But Osha said dia koya. E di unity na mo hwehwe no beba.
Ebeba. Sana tie. Na abato de sana tie. Obi wie no enye ne. Thank you to our mention ye. Yewura J Kufo ekwo thank you to.
Okay.
After Olusi 96.
Okay.
Okoye. You run another Danko Akufo-Addo call twice. Thank you to. And this is not the first time.
Okay.
Party ne presidential candidate wachom ekoto.
Nti no
de
but it so happened that mo next election no one leading mo. Nti wo yet not first time into
no
first Papa Akufo call ye.
Papa Akufo time na nipa kakra bi na
okay
but the first time
but thank you to you know I say on one of Musan Koto Abeyi no Nana do thank you to we no
thank you to we got the non-starter it's not an issue at all
I didn't think party thank you to
it say wakwakwa de ye kwaya mamrem sebe we na we kran pa akokọ
oh no cre
say asem papa bi eto kran so a osa akọ asore enso dase wakọ abato una na o presidential candidate ye wi say wudi nkunim wandi nkunim no o so okọ na nkofo a omobo a ono kokọ dase ntia ho no de it is not a problem at all enye issue one bit. My issue is that what council did was to set the date for the presidential elections. Any other matter for amendment won see your sachra your constitution no council any who to me na ya dey conference so that any biom the notion say about to medical can be same issue because these are some of the misinformation.
That's why I'm asking you.
Young to presidential in we now you see about to national elections, regional election constituency. Council never discussed that. There was no such decision. The decision was setting the date for presidential primaries.
You see, I call round in circles. Council never discussed. Matthias, but optics, no. So mo di omo ni hwe. No mo bubu no mo sesea. Ohwa de na dwen na ne se said the idea you could dear. Free conference 19 July on Bebano. A bet me about some mobile say, oh, and the enter flag bearer and ye rear and sunny a quacko ye executives.
I will not do a new baby. That is why Mama Omunino Akuma told me, say, be beer no my cancer. Because
you are of former energy minister of Abuache Jako say, you don't build the roof before laying the foundation.
You could see skyscraper and I was there.
Oh, say,
you could see skyscraper.
Me,
I'm disappointed in Abuache Jako. Yes, I'm disappointed in him because you're a council member.
No.
In fact, you have from beginning of this year up to now, you have a council meetings 3 times. Okay. The first one, he's somebody Obano Kasa, very deep.
Okay.
And Okasa also be a DT.
Okay.
And the Eda, yes, submitting Professor Okwe committee, no. Now, yes, submitted report to you, no.
Okay.
But the following day, Nano grant interview say a total nonsense.
Nonsense. That's a recipe for
disaster. Be honest, some interview we say total nonsense. Yes, and I'm like, no, over Wadama, Sabi, Senkebi, I wouldn't cut it jump. And you'll be an no arguing Beko Benkrum. Say, Obi, and we are member of council, that's the council take his decision now. Now, because I have now, for me, with the greatest of respect, I think say it was an irresponsible comment from him. How can you say a whole council, the second highest decision making body? Me didn't attempt. Me say that position. You could have just said, "Say me no money again."
Okay.
But for you to say a total nonsense, I think that it was an irresponsible talk. Okay. Most unfortunate.
Okay.
Rather no. There are so many political parties. Omudi kan ko yi omo president ko Canada, ko Australia. There are so many political parties over the globe.
But ube blame no. Mo be say that.
Exactly. Yenye bi da. Hwe. Ye mu ma police station executive me flag bearer. Yenye bi da. But we did it.
But mo be mu no the April say by.
Yes. Because of social media and somebody who is no. Hwe. Some amendment now, you do say all police station members will be on top. I'll be someone no more.
Okay.
It's a lot of heated. They have to convince people when they met, and that was a major decision.
Okay. Now, of the Patrick Idie, say the New Patriotic Party needs a strong party, well organized and disciplined to produce a president, not just a flag bearer.
Okay, as more kind. Why should we be spending our energies to cause disaffection, division at the party's base? Is that a strong party? No. As I speak, there are so many just by elections on. And maybe he wasn't there. We spend time speaking to people who are of the view say, me support you, and ye me free album. It's Yakob General Secretary from Mesa, no, or Pomacho, That is the kind of problems that you share. You call
see.
Similar issue.
Okay.
Ebu wise near pay honorable Baswa. We honorable Baswa not supporting presidential candidate way and we no supporting way. We had to speak to party people. It maybe could be I guess solve party problems before answering our prime minister.
Okay.
So near many Patrick Ekano. It doesn't mean that we are not going to build a strong party. What are bringing a lot of problems presidential primaries. You talk about the ye, you're a Mamadu Baumia. Oh, Baumia Uncle say, you're a Canadian go for Omo Kasakaseti, and Timino Munyajuma, not Canadian go for the business, say, you're a Baumia for Nasa line, so many problems.
Okay.
And so for me, when somebody says you need to build a strong party, I totally understand.
Okay.
But in these times we find ourselves where Afena, Yebabe police station election so that we will cause problems in 42,000 polling stations. No, not at all. You also asked a question.
Okay.
Yeah. You also a very important question. But also can say we flag bearer we are. If you say one here or no never bet say meet me because you look, any wise presidential candidate so elected. So okasa afi na aba can say meet me ya adwuma. Meet me na bi ya adwuma. Meet me ya anya adwuma. Meet me na bi nya adwuma. Then you don't want to win the elections. In fact,
Nana, you are talking as if you haven't heard this statement before.
And I make her say Matilda, but emono.
And you can be the
yes, and I make her say, look, it is because se nipa ne nyamba ye flag bearer. Eno na osuro say, hey, enye me nko police station for na beto abaji me. Me nko pay me nko for ho. We so say me nko pay me nko for ho. We create problem ho. But say when you nipa ni wia. Nipa no na dwen so person wini elections no be president, which I know so are. He is rather supposed to unite the entire party behind him. But if you or be a presidential candidate, Sikana also do a campaign, now be a president, you want to use that money to sponsor chaos, to sponsor division, to sponsor misunderstanding in the party, so that you will not become a president, then such a presidential candidate will be an unwise presidential candidate. I do not think so. When the person becomes a presidential candidate, when only interest will be say, I feel no polling station also on the chairman, because that is the biggest base of the party.
Okay.
The biggest base of the party.
Okay.
You know, I don't know, say flag bearer or concerning who say asumesi polling station we me peno there be afi jama party my party ya dia no kama emusun emukan problem bi ani ho no bi e dia kono ne anije e dia party no.
Okay. Na obi so beka say in fact me read write up by Professor Kweku Azar onu kra dey can say mu set date for polling station executive which is like 5th December.
It was misinformed. I've read that statement,
Okay, you saw that right up.
Yes, Prof. Adama Toda no waji the right information. Yeah, and set the only date you set here was the 31st.
Okay. All right.
But
he went for that say Obisako Sebia na me so me dream won sa and it will go back to my first question. I say na party amako abato so aka say mo suffer this great defeat. Na fe mo pese mo ye reforms any restructuring na. This mo ko yi flag bearer answer. Abre ankrofo me na sepo. How will you get that restructuring or reforms into no friend is or say reforms without the reformer?
Okay. Now no. For me it is part of the reforms. Because you notify say presidential primaries cause a lot of disaffection for us, and you're dragging for a very long time. And the ones are dragging for a very long time. No.
Party executives, sir, declare almost stance before election. And Emma candidate, it fits into it. Say say mudi e ma mu hu ye say disaffection by presidential primaries na no musa say enti party mpanyimfo na omudi emigina na bi afa migina JFK afa no omudi o man cause mo problem ana.
Okay, so that is the more reason why such a problem we yen in term na free o, because utwumu tan sa na ma we nya bitimi asisi. So when you are managing a political party, you manage the political party. Say, look, if problems between PF baby aba, deal with that problem early. Don't let that problem fester. So these issues happen and you rakufo abreso we back endorse no we me na me peno enye ne
na no flag bearer ntema na ebe kill it.
In this era it will kill it because ababeye ade a na edi enya so party no pa eh etoda saa ne ma ye hu nyina no na ebisi 96 by on social media ni ho na media nya prominent see tasem bi ho no ma ye kan dem a ho kwentimi mpie
okay
eni because of asem si hanea na ko babia enti eno no e ka ho bia ma enema ni bi ho no ma e ko asem si soro a first take decision I just wrote letter na dia call region na region communicated to constituency ene you take decision or council na you know a do polling station first you go to take 1 week
okay
asa na do polling station
okay
because you need such media na isa na we say now
okay
so all of these problems are problems that we have had it. Yura Dubai time it was there. Yura Kufuor time it was there. Yura Nanado. So 2008 about we are aware how people declared for Nanado, how people declared for Alan, and then so we know that it is a problem. So if it is a problem, what do? You deal with it early. Not
give me one reason why Ujin say and Amuhuni say some we flag bearer and tema sa problem no makeling.
And one time he come on some apri nyina no flag bearer say every issue of indiscipline abaye nimbia no linked to flag bearer race. All the issues all
Timo problem
as a national council no enye bakope but it is one of the major issues high your court national council no we had to caution 2 members of the party
okay
chairman Abronye and Owusubemba
okay
omumieru nya comment no ukomukomukomu a linked to the presidential primaries now no adwasafo ye trokrata senka omra discipline committee ni nkoma odi ye ne party na ha dwun a wohwemu a linked to presidential primaries
adwa kan onu na sem
dabi ukuti biya that time no dabi o make even declarations kan ensem kan wohwemu a linked to presidential primaries. Look, me say kohwehwe ni nyina any form of indiscipline act in any shape in any form bias over 90% linked.
So mo to ayampie se moko na mukoyi any of obi obeyi ni tiaba ugidi say afi o mbeka o manu atum.
That is MPP. Hwe say ohwe yura Bawumia any Kennedy ebra yura Bawumia di nkunim na no Kennedy campaigned for him and for the party.
I see.
Me hono ba pro is for the party.
Okay.
That is the spirit of MPP.
Okay.
But the most important thing is that so we in term now you have the opportunity to deal with any problem be an intem. You try by problems are yentimi deal with it. That is why I make us campaign. There are a lot of constituencies when you go you have to deal with problems and some campaign.
Okay.
Because you're to abano late 2023. In fact, even as at January 2024, near to aba our party. It's problems, you know. When you have it early, that is why I make us say, in the minds of the framers of the Constitution, they knew that a certain day, baba, and we hear say party so we should decouple the presidential primaries from any other elections. That is why Article 13 was in it. That is why the amendment committee can say, fortunately, Article 13 Mark Council can say, you set date for the presidential. Now, overwhelming majority of petitions anyway by now, can say yenye enontem in free. So for me, it is one of the issues because everything will revolve around the person. Now, we'll be say, we in a presidential candidate. That is the most important thing. Trust me, they did not do a form now for the presidential candidate. So no be contest here. Campaign.
After Omatu ayampia mani omo.
That is any party look from Yura Kufuor so to money. But
Sabrina candidate omanu ehye ya no omanu oboro
no na ya na no tia minim ebia
na me follow pa
na follow
me ya abaya
say yeah obi ko catch issues pa ebu ha na wa Ashanti region those times hey uti abako se bia na no hye pa
I see.
I'm telling you na no hye pa na ene no sanse yenya media I didn't say mo ko ba bia no mo bia timi che na adwen de na obinya yenko for on platforms na ebi tuma na ye ho ebi kan di atem debi enne pa no ho
na no nti ene kofa factionism ebae nti afa mo wie primaries ne kra no asemasi faction obentin fashion no say na ewuma
oh debi enne be wom but dealing with it no and I make us say we here to deal with it look so obi who say ya to ya be we a presidential candidate ye de ne ko we say pair ne be say nyane say party ni hihye ye nyina no ye nim say your presidential candidate
okay
it is obi ko di atem na we ntimi nya adwuma na we ntimi we na betimi aye na we na yesi na we na yesi no asem bia ni hono bio I'm telling you that is me with the many to form problems that yenya wo party munya dodo na na yewe fortunately apathy any people horse ye mesin chain men ka ho that is why we have added a lot of former MP house there be media involved and they former MPs we are giving them a voting right former ministers former deputy ministers former regional executives former national executives former constituency executives all of these amendments is to cure sa apathy mischief no sa niema e manipa honhom ekofom se yintimi nkekan ho nya adwuma party no to mu nyina no eka ho bi so when you give them that voting right it energizes them say I'm part of the decision making it ye kwa ne be kwa kosi bia no o se metachiri nyina no ye ho adwuma
okay
so for me where we find ourselves this is the best decision in such chaotic times our party finding itself no national council Adekye all of it I'm happy yenya board date ni we
any decision more national executives as a mode eche mo ho so se mo besian babiem
udabi not at all na said national executives our mo ho no say close to about 60-70% will not even seek for re-election.
I see.
So it cannot be the case.
Will you seek for re-election?
I will seek for a national position elections.
But no national organizer?
I will seek, is there a national position elections?
Into Betian go for national organizer?
I will go for a national position election.
Abra yesimu nyina mo anya ade na yema mo mkono.
Hwe. Ene nanka wonya area si dun ketia wa hanga be me de.
Watu menkrato ko eyiye binti 2 weeks time.
Before I suffer such humiliating defeat.
Okay.
Na political party I suffer a humiliating defeat pa na efise nkindi mama bi nkwa na NDC.
I see.
Sabre na area si dun ketia no general secretary. Omusa ma na be national chairman.
Okay.
Omusa ma na be national chairman. Anamebo.
Okay.
Exactly. Eti eno de neither here nor there. You have new faces coming in, then you blend with the old one.
See, and I'm just looking at say I said the more you know I am hanging some 31st no on kasa which say be ye adwuma pa 19th July conference no
ya set we face but
masan bisa wa mebisa wi a wo pese wo be kire say other executives no ana say party mpanyinfo every polling station abedu national ya wo mu nso na mu tire mu ama o mato aba bia wo se no de
o da bi meyi wa no
mo ko conference na mo be
kire meyi wa no ne me kan say
me hwe baby a
ye de be meyi wa no e bia wo na on timasi ma me san tim bi ncho me say 31st ne de
ensisa metiasi obatina na
19th na
I say you are smartly trying to avoid
smart 31st no ye wie 19th ne yakwa ye ne say council ni to me say yes achira your constitution mu a ye be take decision there be to all of these proposals ya no ye de kwakoma conference na omo a ye biemu expanded ne de abeka ho amaka ni nyina achira no. It is only conference that can take the decision. And the conference decision, no, and on the be informing National Steering Committee, National Executive Committee, National Council to bring out the modalities for the 31st elections. The answer
for the 31st elections, abra ye nim se polling station for the name national executives. You better mo so abada ben. Ti mo dada ya na mo of which you see no, and the amendments na ha ma
date. Say no, say me kasa me mandate krampo de nke be end next year July. All national offices mandate be ending next year July. All national offices. Region for there, I think in somewhere in April or so. and a constituency, so I think here to be February ending in March, it means to around that time. Eti kame me de se ne awoka se nyen hu ye de
so na mo betumi akwaba no maka se o ya reforms no but ya ma executives o mo sesi ayi enwo ho because o mo tenure enson ye na omuntu omudwuma die so nkosi next year July no afei eba ne sa mo 31st January to elect a flag bearer no will still hold na sampanyimfo ya obi mu chairman fo ni bi akodi ebi achi national executives bi akodi candidate bi achi no omo na ebe wo a supervisor na akoto aba yi obi is it not a foregone conclusion for one candidate?
Debbie, not at all because yeah.
And I'm still struggling to wrap my mind around it.
31st na ya no. The body to conduct that elections will be a committee constituted by National Council. Etinya obi a chairman or baby and obi organizer or baby and nipa never be elections so.
Agreed, the last time agreed on so but our influence on a regional
influence only obi me see nipa 400 close to 400,000 ekoto aba 400,000 ekoto aba obi are independent minded obi ye kwochinchim obi ansan ko ye
but Ghana for hu de call ye that close to 400,000 at least be 300,000 and even if half of that ene to aba mudi Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ya ye hu de see ansan na ala na kan say no me hu say it is skewed towards the benefit of one person. No, I'm just using that as an example.
No, it was not tea ade ba ko pa ni efi say e be ha adwen because yes enipa no be fi say bi enipa kuma bi no and then we extraordinary delegates conference akwa constituency chairpersons and regional executives and national executive national council members and amendment committees look I don't know yen free ho let the people go and face because I don't know him say adeba ko am kan say unya to aba ne pe na say ya na be hwire di ani mu pe a then na akwa say psychologically no o ka che omo from ho ne say ya na hwire di ani mu nti party mpanimfo no koto aba no aha na koye nti anso no monko eni eno ne ye no afiri ho so any prospective presidential aspirant you are going to face close to 400,000 delegates. That is it. Nyana odeba ya na mpese mi chemu che one say it is not out of place. I don't want to jump the gun. We want to go yenhwe ne conference ebejatum. The conference bejatum no that will become part of your constitution. So the amended constitution will be a new constitution now. So then, after party no pennyfo a your steering committee in NEC and the council, it would to me to work with that constitution.
Then that brings to for another question. The amended constitution, the law does not take retrospective effect. Inti enkonechi, inti 31st January no. Mo time on son ye no mo nkoto aba amended constitution no be ye adwuma konenim it means that or it could mean that or my amendment amoma beka ho no maybe the next elections.
This is not taking any retrospective effect.
Okay,
it is not because ye nya ye no in July ni we are ye da ye nim no ye nya ye se wonya ye act na we are and abaka said the law no cannot go back to either correct or to remedy a certain act in the past. But we know, and you say, yes, we because 19th.
Fix the date,
no date need because it's in the constitution.
Okay.
And not the council has that mandate to fix the date.
Until the 19th July, details be in a WhatsApp conference in them. Matis Mboye University of Ghana.
University of Ghana Sports Stadium.
Okay, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days.
Oh, be reported on the 18th.
Okay.
Friday.
Okay.
Now Saturday no yaye. You know, you can drag, they can go back. Also, I'm relax. The omo we are nyame Sunday. Na oba de.
But a 1 day conference, a Saturday. Saturday. I'm sure amendments here I'm proposing. You know, I'm to me. That Saturday.
In the best throughout, and that is the major activity for conference.
Okay.
And you take normal speeches. No need we. Fraternal messages from other political parties. Okay. Then quickly we zoom into that. And we are done with conference.
Okay. Me who se mwati committee a omo behwe sa conference ni so why na beche?
Onimonyamfo Joe Osehusu. And me vice chairman for the committee.
Okay.
Salam Mustafa was to be secretary to the committee Haruna Mohammed, deputy general secretary. Safia Mohammed, deputy women's organizer. Honorable Abna Osayasare, parliament. And Jerry Ahmed Shai, also a member of parliament. And Greater Accra regional chairman Divine Agohum Otu, and so a member of the, but there will be subcommittees. From
now till that 19th, more energies in our be sure. In fact, the media and communication press unit, a big issue statement about regarding how media accreditation and how a business more. You don't want to be okay.
Me sure. UTV. You pick it live because about the penny for now.
Me so me wo GD say enkomo no be there from that 19th July.
Yes. And it's
because now it is not too clear
for them.
It is not too clear.
Oh, it is clear. Me as long as I can't say it is not too clear. Party no na
Yet just why you yet
first no nothing will change it. I just said cancel. And as I
okay.
Cancel the ultimate so much decision.
Okay.
Nothing will
change it. 31st.
Exactly.
But
31st. Amendment now a bebemuno and a be informing modalities are a debebre and sacrampo and European nomination. That is why the 31st window is very good because in your 19th now you have a lot of time to implement the decisions of conference and also come out with the modalities in line with the constitution. We will not do anything outside the constitution. That I can promise you.
We are watching. Inti yebeshe.
Ya antimesel, my for feed the case issue. And country party for you say we will need their support. I also say ma party no eya kono. Need me we be behind we cannot drag your internal elections over a period of 2 years, 3 years. Na NDC for I don't know person mo kan say there be Mr. party for you moye ni nsiesie ye ho enwie 31st ye penny we are. Trust me, a lot of the problems in the party ni na no be kwakoda. And then ka wonya ho asem kan bi me ba yi enka wa hwe front pages in some wo honom in some akoko ka ye bi kankalam see adia to see agensem ene na menim say ene external shocks yitimika Russia Ukraine war by omo NDC for catch say bomb ni bia beto ha na ene menim say Iran bomb ba ko moto e bia beto peace fm ha ana e bia kwakoto eye pillar 2 ana say e bia koto kumase a enso ni me won so mampeni de ye chapia opeso de excuse
can you economist na e ban say be say economist na ma
ya nyame sha na koso nyini wa adumu ni adumu sa na nyame ma onkoso ho nya fesa
amen e da say Lawyer Henry Nanabuachi Taisa Nimranise Nana B or a national organizer Emma NPP Amanyoko no and sisi idea modalities is the word for the day une nishia no I know say me checho but the year 19th July in the hope ya you be it's your cover pa your bet was